Whether it's
One job,
happy wolf gifts
nice girls,
or instant barbarians,
there's a
sub
for
that. Welcome to the front podcast of the internet.
I am your host, Willy.
And I am your host all evening, Scott.
For this episode, we're a show all about Reddit.
Covering all the ups and downvotes in about 30 minutes.
If you like the show, you can find more of us.
On TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
Or in a sleazy shoebox in the back of a Mar-a-Lago closet. Do you know there's a subreddit called Mom for a Minute?
Are you saying, or are you trying to say, there's a sub for that?
There is. Apparently, it says, "We are mother geese to our loving ducklings when you need understanding. Congratulations, praise, or advice from a mother figure, but don't have one IRL. Able or willing to provide that for you. We are here for you. We support you and love you unconditionally." I hate this place.
It's not a sex thing? Is there an NSFW tag anywhere in like the top past week?
Okay, so in r/mom for a minute rules, the second rule says fetish-ish. This post or comment has a fetish vibe to it.
Oh, okay. Well,
That took a weird spin.
what was there a point to all this, or you just find?
No,
this
I just
out
saw it on
recently?
the screen, and it was like, I didn't know that existed.
I think we should look into it a little bit more. Maybe do a deep dive one day. For me this week, it was all about starter packs. I found a lot of starter pack posts, and I thought maybe it could be fun one episode to go into a little bit of deep dive there too.
I just want to say, you said starter packs, and I get the reference to the internet of today, but it made me think of my life growing up. And if somebody who listens to this show knows of or has access to a starter jacket from the Minnesota Moose.
Oh yeah,
And
it's got to be on eBay.
If it's like no, I've looked. Trust me, I've looked. If it's like an extra large, please help
Hit a brother
me.
up.
I will pay an undisclosed amount of money for that jacket.
Did you own it at one point and then give it away?
Yes.
No. How? Why?
It was my favorite jacket. I have no idea. I outgrew it. It was the 90s, man. We weren't small. Like, we were small at one point in the 90s and then larger.
We didn't realize what vintage and retro were at the time and how we were living in it.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
I want you to think about when you were a kid and some of the things that may or may not have happened around you. I think as children, you put blinders on in a lot of ways. Like, all you're thinking about is, when am I going to get my Lunchable? When do I get to go sit on the couch and watch Power Rangers? I almost knocked something over. I'm a disaster.
Oh.
But there's so many things that I don't think our parents let us on to. So I want to read this from Made Me Smile this week as our opening, because it's been an interesting week. It's had its ups and downs, but this says, I was the poor kid growing up. My mom used to send me to birthday parties with no present, just so I could eat.
Oh.
I definitely got to a point where I understood and was embarrassed as hell. So in the 5th grade, my friend's mom invited me to sleep over the night before the actual birthday party. When her daughter was in the shower, my mom laid out all the toys that she had bought her daughter for her birthday. She let me pick one to wrap and put my name on it. This person writes, "I'm 37 now, and I'm still grateful to that mom. That one act has made such an impact on me."
It kind of affects me at a personal level, because
You were that mom?
I wish that mom would have sent that kid to my birthday in 5th grade.
Why?
Because I invited my whole class and none of those little bitches showed up.
You were one of them. Scott, I'm so sorry.
I know. But a lot of divorced parents or something. I don't know. I'm blaming them. I don't blame myself.
Did anybody show up to this party?
Yes, my best friend. I invited him, and I don't know. I think my sister was old enough maybe to hang out. We invited everybody to, oh my gosh, Grand Slam.
Yeah, in
Grand
Egan.
Slam. I invited the whole class. Not a single one showed up. They're all dead now. So, anyway.
Scott had some really dark times in high school. No, we don't make that joke anymore.
Willy, too.
Come on. I swear that bite is going to come back to just lick my ass. Wait.
Not in a good way.
Okay. I remember a few things. Do you remember the Mall of America used to
I was
have
there today.
on the fourth floor, the Mall of America had a laser tag arena.
Do they not still have one?
No.
Is it not
they have
there?
go-karts
Okay.
up there.
Yeah, they got a
I don't know.
bunch
I'm
of
an
cool
adult.
stuff.
I don't need to go up there.
I thought they did have a laser tag arena in the same place with the go-karts.
They might. But I will tell you, that was one birthday party that I went to. We all like shoved ourselves into some mom's minivan and just made it to the Mall of America, and that was one of the most fun birthdays I ever went to.
Did you and I, thankfully, #blessed most of our life, including our childhood. We were never in this situation where you had to go without. I'm sure there's plenty of times, including in my adult life, that I've showed up at parties without presents just because.
You don't think about it. You're just
Right.
like, hey, mom and dad, drop me off at this thing. And they're like, what is it? And you're like, a birthday party? And they're like,
Oh, come on,
Kyle,
Willy.
God damn it. I'm trying to remember if there were any of those moments.
Probably not. I mean,
Yeah, transparently, I was always the one whose parent was like, you need lunch money today? And would just hand me like a $10 bill.
yeah, they wouldn't think twice about it. And
Yeah.
I think back then, like if you got invited to a party of some sort, the invite came from the kid, but maybe the parents would reach out to and just be like, hey, I didn't know too many people, weird school district in elementary school, at least until 6th grade when I moved. But after that, it was pretty much my parents got to know all of my friends' parents because we lived close by, and there was good communication between everybody, good and bad. I never got away with anything.
I think I've shared this story. I grew up in a neighborhood where within like a 2-block radius, there was like 18 kids, all within like a 5 to 10 year range. So there was always a party to go to. Somebody had a birthday party happening just about all the time. And think because the goal with those parties was like one mom just made a giant bucket of popcorn, and then we sat in front of somebody's Nintendo or PlayStation and just had a good time. There wasn't the expectation that like cake needed to be there or a ton of food was going to be done. And maybe that's where I got lost growing up, is that you would just go down the street and some family would be eating dinner and you just go inside and eat dinner.
With them?
Totally. At like 100%. I know this sounds really odd, but my next door neighbor his name was Matt. Matt was amazing. He would come into our house. We had a piano. I sound so privileged when I say that, but the piano was in the house when my parents got it, and they didn't know how to get it out, so they just left it there.
Hey, free piano. Got to increase the value.
It's not a grand piano. It's like one of those like wall stand-up ones, and they had it, and they're like, none of us
Heavy
know how to
as
play
hell.
the piano, but sure, it's an accent piece now. And
I think Oh, go ahead. Go.
he would just come in and he would just sit down. He played the piano. He went to like a music school for high school. So he would just play the piano, and my mom would just like walk over and hand him a plate of pizza rolls.
That's cool. That's cool. I do remember a couple times going over to a friend's house, the family like offering me dinner because I was just there, and I always felt awkward. I always felt I was imposing. Like, no, you guys got to have family dinner together. And maybe it's because we didn't invite people over. Like, it was always like, you have to be home by this time because we're eating together. And it was always just like immediate family only. So maybe we were, and it might have changed with my sister's friends and stuff like, but maybe we were the odd ones out.
We might have been. But if you're a listener or a viewer of the show and you have a story, tell us. There's at subforthat.com.
Willie, I think back, and maybe I'm just not remembering all the times my folks did invite friends over to dinner, but it was a long time ago. And like I said, I lived in 2 different spots when I was a kid, so I didn't have a lot of friends in one space. I did in the second space. It could have just carried over where they didn't know that it was okay to invite people over to dinner, even if they were just a couple blocks away. And speaking of things that other people may have forgotten, this week in Ask Reddit, there's a post titled Redditors, or people listening to the show, what's something the internet was crazy about but is now forgotten?
Filling their bathtubs with water?
For what reason?
December 30th and 31st, 1999. Yeah. The internet was all over Y2K.
2K, yeah, exactly. The first example that somebody gave, over_clocks, says, during the early days of the web, when most websites weren't plastered with advertising and had website view counters.
I remember that. Oh, man.
Can you explain that to, all the children that listen to this show?
There was a sense of pride when you figured out how to build a website. Even if you were a business, like a big business, you'd build this site and you'd be like, we want to rep how many people have been here to show our credentials. It's like if you were, so here, let me bring it down to the Gen Zs. You're on Twitch, right? And you look over at like the right side and you see somebody's camera frame, and in there they show their sub count. That's the same thing that these websites were doing. They were showing their sub count, how many people had visited their website. And it was just a ticker that went up. It didn't go up very fast, but it went up.
But if it was something big like yahoo.com, we get millions of visits every single day. Do you also remember when certain websites you would go to would be under construction?
Yes.
What it would look like?
You would just like you'd be clicking around on a site and like 2/3 of the site would work, and then you'd click a page and it'd be like under construction.
And it would have like an actual construction zone graphic. It would look like there's a hard hat and a sign with blinking lights,
I want to quiz you, Scott. You were, because I saw this TikTok earlier this week. There's this guy's getting so much fame, and I want to find him because like him and his daughter, it's a fun relationship. Essentially, he's like our age. Daughter is probably middle school, high school, and he starts saying phrases from when he was a kid, and she has to guess what they are. And
yeah.
The first one that he brought up, these are old AOL phrases. This one is, what if you went into a chat room in AOL, you hit you boot it up, and you write in a chat room, ASL.
American Sign Language, which is really hard to do over the internet unless you have a webcam.
Or type things out.
Can you type out ASL?
It's
feel bad.
Just words. It's just words, buddy.
Just words? Oh, it's not the same. It's not the same thing.
Do you know what it means, though? It took me so long to figure this out.
Age, sex, language.
Age, sex, location. But language
location?
is probably...
Dang it. Yeah. No, it was location. I got mad and frustrated the first time I ever went into an AOL chat room because somebody said IRC? Or
IRC was one of them.
IRC,
what does IRC stand for?
I have no idea. To this day, in relay chat.
Bustle.com says the meaning is internet relay chat. And they go on to describe it as, what I love about productivity tools like Slack? It's basically a really pretty looking IRC, which means that A, learning how it works was a breeze when I first started using it, and B, I get a little rush of nostalgia every time I load it. IRCs were a staple of early internet communication, even though they've fallen somewhat out of favor these days.
Yeah, I used to be on one in college. I totally forgot what it was, but it was definitely how we traded files back in the day.
I remember, because I played a lot of internet video games, like Call of Duty, period, full stop, just the original one. It was called TeamSpeak. And we would join, it was the original Discord, if you could imagine it. Like, you would join little chat rooms, and that was it. Oh, God. What about BBS? I'll leave you with this one.
No, can't go on that website at work.
Nowadays, you can't type in any acronym without being
Rule 34, yeah.
Yep. Nowadays, a gamer would say AFK, which means
Away from keyboard.
and BBS back in the day stood for Be Back Soon.
Oh, man. I
Plus
did not know that. I
Big.
did not know that.
Okay.
Big, beautiful Scots. Available now on our OnlyFans.
There's generations of people now who still have no idea. Like our parents and above, they probably don't know what half of that stuff is. And unfortunately, I think too many people get this stuff wrong or make just shitty claims about people that are different than them. This week in the subreddit, Mildly Infuriating, there's a post that says, "My Swedish family recently moved to America. Today, this rude letter was anonymously sent to our mail." It says...
Hey, before you read this, I just wanted to let you know we have several fans in Sweden. Okay, so is this a positive thing?
No. And the thing is I stand with our fans in Sweden. I think what is written here is bullshit.
All right, we're with you, Sweden. So just take this with a grain of salt.
It says, "Listen here. You are not welcome. If you haven't noticed yet, the majority of the people living in this neighborhood are fluent in English and can communicate efficiently without a staggering accent. On the other hand, from our interaction last week, I realized that you couldn't speak very well. I still can't comprehend what bullshit you said to me. Secondly, leaving your dog off the leash is, all caps, unacceptable. Even if it's for a walk down the street, those bloodthirsty beagles can tear me to pieces if left unattended. I'm surprised nobody has been injured yet with your actions. And on that note..."
Is the third thing.
Yeah. "You should also keep quiet from 5 to 9 p.m. That's when my family usually rests after a hard day of work. And having to listen to your screeching violin practice is hurting my ears. At least do it in the morning or soundproof your walls. If you're not going to play something soothing, then just don't bother. And on top of that, you've been sitting in your house for 4 weeks and the lawn is overgrown. You didn't take a second to try and crop it like the other houses did perfectly well. You are not American. Go back to your country."
Damn.
These people exist.
I know. And I wish every single one of them would go play in traffic.
I feel like I know the answer to this, Scott, because we've been friends for a long time, but have you met people like this?
Yes, but I've never had this sort of interaction with anybody. I've had to be the one that wrote a note to somebody who like parked against my car after I just got it, by the way. Like their parking space was right in front of mine.
Sure.
In an open parking lot. And they just drove up and bumper to bumper. Like it was on my bumper. So I had to leave a stern note saying like, just FYI, you're way over the line. I'm a foot into my space. And I have pictures of your car touching mine. And they wrote back. They're like, sorry, I bumped your car. I won't do it again.
Do you think that there's do you think there's an obligation to say something? Like if you were to witness this, is it your responsibility to say something?
We always have these thoughts in the back of our head, like, how would I react in this situation? I'm one of those people that's kind of got a chip on my shoulder all the time for this type of anger and animosity towards another human being. So my eyes are always constantly open, looking for, I guess, any sort of hatred or vitriol that's breaking the normal peace of the space around me. No matter where I am, whether it's at work or just going around doing my thing. You best believe my head was on a swivel today at Mall of America.
I'm surprised you went.
It's like it never happened, honestly. There were so many people there.
Oh, okay.
So I would like to think that if this situation arose, I would go in and try to be a peacekeeper and definitely a defender of the innocent.
What do you think is there a level of aggression that is appropriate? to feed back to somebody like this. Like, let's say you're walking down the street and you see the all too typical interaction of a warm-blooded American yelling at somebody who is just different and causing a scene. What do you think that level is that is appropriate?
I learned something about myself this week while I was watching a stream and just watching people chat. There was this one person that was clearly putting negative vibes into the chat, and they were just saying things that weren't in line with everyone else, and they were kind of being a Debbie Downer. And in my head, I was kind of getting ready to type something that would have met them where they were at, because you're anonymous on the internet and you just kind of get that little bit of excitement. You're like, I can say whatever I want.
Oh, I'm gonna fuck them up.
However, somebody else got to this person before me, and all they said was, "Hey, so-and-so, you okay?" And
that's a great response.
It completely took me by surprise that, holy cow, yeah, this is another human being just having a bad situation, a bad day, bad life, whatever. And there has definitely been an absence of people offering empathy, offering understanding, so that they got to this point where they're taking it out on, somebody who clearly does not deserve it.
That person
always, yeah, just like Mr. Rogers said back in the day, Fred Rogers, the one we should all emulate. Look for the helpers. Those are the people that you want to be. Now, speaking of things that aren't being helped, this week in movies, Batgirl was axed by Warner Brothers and will not be released on any platform. You must have heard about this.
Of course.
Several big films that were on Warner Brothers' slate got axed and turned into tax write-offs. What
allegedly.
An insult. Allegedly. But just think about this. J.K. Simmons, Michael Keaton, Brendan Fraser were in this film, and it'll never see the light of day. Morbius got released
twice
and then re-released. But we won't get to see this Batgirl movie that was done. It had wrapped filming.
When are we going to get the Schneider cut of that film?
Oh my gosh.
Because the footage is there. They just need to do post-production, which costs millions of dollars. But I wonder if there is enough backlash for Warner Brothers to say, hey, we've got enough eyes now. Let's give it a shot. Do we just need to start a hashtag, it's Batgirl time?
I don't know. Because at the same time, it was another DC film, and maybe they saw the early footage and they were just like, listen, this is just like everything else that hasn't really done well. I appreciate this, and the $90 million, we'll cover it. No problem. Holy cow. This was a surprise to everybody in the industry that you could just go about your job and have the rug pulled under you or pulled out from you.
I saw an interesting TikTok this week that said Warner Brothers and HBO have such odd priorities right now that they're willing to let Ezra Miller star in The Flash and have a movie that is coming out, who's like one of the most problematic actors in Hollywood today. They get a film, but Batgirl gets canceled. I'll be honest with you, I'm looking at a very small lineup of upcoming DC films, and I just want your hot take right now because I have really strong opinions. So let me just read you 6 of them.
Let me put on my oven mitts.
You've got Black Adam, Shazam,
Positive.
Fury of the Gods,
Black Adam, go see it. Shazam 2, go see it.
Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom,
go stream it.
The Flash,
Watch it on an airplane.
Okay, it'll definitely be there. A movie called Blue Beetle?
I know of the character. I have seen them in a couple comic books. I have no knowledge of this, so I'm going to say I gotta wait and see.
And finally, 2024, Joker Folie à Deux.
I I don't think they needed to make this movie. I'm going to say wait.
You ready for my opinion on all 6 of those movies?
You're going to say don't see them.
They're going to be fucking garbage. Just
You saw the announcement, though. You saw the announcement that they're hiring a Kevin Feige-like person to take over the DCU.
the last time they hired somebody from the MCU to deliver on MCU quality, they hired Joss Whedon. And what did Joss Whedon do? Overly sexualized Gal Gadot. And we had to deal with the bullshit that was the Justice League.
2 times. Even with the Schneider cut. It wasn't very good. Sorry. It just wasn't.
I just have strong opinions. I think...
Trust but verify is where you're coming from
Yeah.
right now. You know?
I think
You like the idea of all these great characters. And they have ideas. They have IPs. But they have yet to prove. And what are you going to say? The Suicide Squad 2 was funny? Sure. Peacemaker is a good TV show? Yeah. But that's 1 out of... I mean, that's 5% of all DCU films that have ever been made.
that's like when the first Wonder Woman came out and we said, the rest of the DCU is going to be fantastic. And it wasn't.
Did you like that first Superman, though, with Henry Cavill?
Yes.
It was good. It was good. And I felt it was a nice homage to the previous Superman films, kind of understated, until he
The
destroyed
last
the
10
city.
minutes and he destroyed everything, counter to everything that Superman is about. Like, just
Yeah.
world-ending destruction. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that first Wonder Woman was the only good one. And the rest, that's 1% of everything. Trash.
We just can't get it right. It's just like every
It's not us.
single...
We have nothing to do with this.
It's like every single time Warner Brothers puts out a film, it's like one's an up, another's a down. One's an up, another's a down.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Kind of like every week we do our...
It's sometimes good, it's sometimes not. It's time for ups and down votes with Willy and Scott. Hey, now, Scott, I know that we have this coin flip thing, but unfortunately, what happened when we were prepping for the show?
I mean, we talked about it. What our stories are going to be. I still think we should do the coin flip. Except, I think it should be for both stories.
Oh, I have 2 up votes and Scott has 2 down votes.
Mm-hmm. So you're either gonna get the super positive, fancy pants stories from Willy, or you're gonna get the sad trombone stories from Scott. They're not rusty.
All right, buddy. Heads or tails?
I'm gonna go tails.
Fuck, it's tails. Hey, here's the deal. I know it's been a long week. We're all thinking about just the shittiness of the United States. But if you want 2 amazing upvotes, head on over to our TikTok.
All right. Negative Nancy story number 1 coming at you from technology. This week, Amazon's Roomba deal is really about mapping your home. Willie, what happened with our future overlords?
Well, so they've been able to see the outside of our house with the Ring camera for a few years now, since 2018. But now, having purchased Roomba, they now know the inside of our home. Well, just all of it. They know where things are.
They can map out the entire floor plan of your house. I noticed you don't have a couch in this living room. Here's 5 couches to choose from.
Do you have a Roomba?
No, I vacuum my house sparingly like every other American.
Well, according to Statista?
Elastica?
Sure. A site that gives stats. From 2017 to 2019, the install base of robotic vacuum cleaners in the U.S. is estimated at 14.2 million households.
Okay.
Now, iRobot is the leader, and they
Oh?
have more than 80%.
Interesting.
Amazon just expanded. Now they have Eero. They have Ring to see the outside. They have Roombas to see the inside. They just bought a medical company to sell medical prescriptions. They are just all consuming.
Is Amazon or Unilever closer to becoming Wayland Yutani?
Bless you.
The company from Aliens that fuck everything up for that universe.
Oh, can we do a reference for the younger audience, because I didn't watch any movies back in the 90s? What about B&L from Wall-E?
Wally's World. Yes. So let me just end with this. For those of you who have Roombas, congratulations. Amazon is now collecting dirt on you.
I hate it here.
All right, super downer story number 2. This week in news, a North Carolina school district is planning on putting an AR-15 in every single school in the event of another school shooting.
So we likely have listeners who have drastically different opinions than us. And what I want to tell you is, like, I respect that you hang out with us, that you listen to this show. I don't
thank you. Really?
I don't understand how adding more fuel to a fire
makes it go out.
Yes. Somebody on TikTok today said something interesting. They said, if you were to look at the amount of spending we put into police and protection and government oversight, you would think that we should be the safest by far country in the world, and we are nowhere near that. So whatever we think we're doing isn't working.
We can try other things too. I mean, it's allowed to everybody who's in charge of things.
Yes.
Now, there was a couple good comments from the thread. Doc Halloween said, "Holy cow, and here I thought North Carolina would never buy school supplies for its students."
Oh, God.
Somebody else said, "Do you think they're going to put the AR inside a case with a big sign that says, in case of school shooting, break glass?" I mean, there's several quotes from this article that I'm not going to read just because I think they're ludicrous. And Willy and I are both on the same page. On my personal opinion, I don't think guns should be put into schools unless you have a school shooting team of some sort, in which case I'm sure you have to bring your own gun. We're not going to pay for that. The school's going to make you bring your own. BYOG.
If you want a story about a true OG, head over to TikTok and listen to Abdul's story. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Find more of us on our socials, and we'll see you next week.